Hello. Bl'Artagnan here with Dimensions and Transcendence Tier 3 Crucible 1. The objective for this fight is to launch the enemies as much as possible. They got a launch orb that'll show up after they go below 80%. So I'm bringing a slightly offbeat but still very solid team to deal with that. We got Ramza as our launcher of choice. Also bringing with us Lael Call and Kais Call, and I think we got a Cloud Call in there too somewhere. In terms of the actual team comp, we got Ramza, we got Krile, and we got Strago. Bringing Strago to deal with the fact that there are 3 enemies, and he absolutely loves those kinds of situations. Check this out. Look at all that damage. You love to see it. Oh, okay, Kurosami Call. That's the last one I brought with me. Alrighty, so this is not quite going to be a no-boss turn run, but we're going to get pretty darn close. Overall, I found this tier to be pretty darn easy. All 3 of the fights kind of went down real quick, which is nice. And I didn't have to use any of the the banner units, Porum or Warrior of Light or Sephiroth or anything like that. They work great here if you want to use them. I just want to try to bring something a little bit different than that this time around. I actually brought Krile because she still has a Porum Sphere from the Immortalian Lost chapter, so I figured I'd use her in the Reckoning, but that didn't quite go as planned, and I ended up having to use a different team setup for that when it came down to it. Actually recording outside because it is a beautiful day, and after a pretty relaxing Transcendence, I figured, you know what, let's kick back and sit on the porch and relax. So apologies if there are any background noises that come in during that. We're going into a very early burst with Ramza now. Again, the intent here was to do a no-boss turn run. It didn't, which, it doesn't quite work out that way, but we get close enough, trust me. We go ahead and launch again. And you'll note that I started by using Lael's regular call in order to drop force on them. This means that we're going to be able to just pretty much knock them to the sky every other turn or so. Of course, bring Pandemonium Summon, that's nice. Nearly 2 million damage off a Ramza Burst is certainly nothing to sneeze at. I think someone's trimming their hedges nearby, so apologies if you can hear that. We're now going into the summon. I'm going to see how far we can push them back while dealing as much damage as possible. I think a lot of folks found this fight to be kind of a breather. The thing, I think the reason is because we've gotten very used to facing a lot of mechanics, especially around HP thresholds, and this fight really doesn't have mechanics. None of the fights have, like, I think the final fight has like 1 HP threshold based mechanic, and those are one of the few ways that this game can kind of gate zero boss turn strategies a little bit. Not that it really does so very effectively in most cases, but that's kind of the thinking there. At least the way I interpret it. So it was a little bit strange to me that for the third Dimensions and Transcendence they would just kind of make everything a gimme, but I don't know. It could also just be that we at this point have so many characters kind of up to speed and up to date that we have more ways to deal with them, but I do feel like these fights all kind of had much less in the way of mechanics to have to deal with, which was a little weird to me. I mean, it was pretty relaxing, but still weird. We'll go ahead and use our last Ramza LD here, try to get as close as we can and get some full launches and stuff. So something I only figured out after clearing Transcendence was I had forgotten that Kurosami's LD call doesn't actually apply the 5 stack of his hero, it only applies the 2 stack. basically, I spent this entire fight with him at 2 stacks of hero because I started with his regular call and didn't increase, or with his LD call. I didn't notice that it didn't max them out. So that's just a fun little bit of trivia about my learning process. If you want to actually like truly, if you're planning on truly no boss turning them, you should use both of the Kurosame calls to get them all the way to 5 stacks. Unless, of course, you're planning on having a long, drawn-out fight and you want to just kind of maximize the uptime of having HP damage up on them, which I think there's a lot of value in that, too. So you see here, we've been brought below half health, but I just checked and there's no HP requirement in Dimension's End. So we are perfectly good, just kind of surviving and killing them without, without healing up. You'll see we're just running out of the Ramza burst effect now, so we're in good hands there. Krile has a lot of buffs she puts in the party, so we've been really taking advantage of that. Realizing I never actually used the darn Lail LD call, just it's kind of been a bit of a doofy rush with without a whole lot of optimization. Turn jumping and charging the EX with a shout, so there's launch upon launch upon launch. And this is me finally maxing out their hero stacks, so that was good of me. Now they're all paralyzed thanks to Krile's LD, and because I used it again, I'm able to chain paralyze them. Not that it's likely to matter at this point, but that's a cool little bit of functionality Krile brings, is the ability to chain paralysis like that. If I really wanted to be goofy, I could have brought the Ramu summon and just, paralyzed from Ramu into 3 subsequent paralyzes. Would have been just as good. I think Pandemonium probably gave us a lot more damage, though. Anyway, that was Crucible 1 of Tier 3, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bit of a fast one. Catch you next time. Adios.